Hello, my name is Sonali and I welcome you all to another episode of Around the World in 7 Days. How is India's foreign policy? If someone asks you this question, how will you answer whether India is on the non-aligned path or is exploring its role in multilateral organizations or is pursuing its interest with an independent foreign policy? The question is complicated, isn't it? The answer is even more complicated, but is it really so? Probably not. If seen, the essence of India's foreign policy is hidden in the theme of the 18th G20 conference organized by India, that is Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. India believes that the entire world is one family. There may be sporadic fights in the family, but this should not disturb the family balance. We will have to understand India's foreign policy from this perspective of seeking a balance. Like India shares the stage with both Russia and America. Sometimes it becomes a part of China's opposition group and sometimes its biggest partner. We can also see this balanced attitude of India in the various military exercises organized by it. The question arises that how is India doing this and what does it mean? In today's discussion, we will find answers to these questions. So let's start the discussion. In the year 1947, when India became independent, the world was divided into two camps. One faction was led by the United States, while the other faction was led by the Soviet Union. Amidst the mutual fight between these two camps, India refused to be a part of any group. It did not break relations with the other, but since then, India had maintained a balance with both the groups. India is still following the same path. Today, India's good relations with all major powers is a major goal of Indian foreign policy. As such, at the political level, India has been trying to work with the Quad as well as BRICS, Shanghai Cooperation Organization and many other partners in recent years. Extending this to the military and security sectors, India is balancing between the opposing camps while also trying to balance its strategic interest by simultaneously engaging in military exercises with both the United States and Russia. Like India is conducting a military exercise with America called Yuddha Abhyas in Alaska from 25th September to 8th October, around the same time, India also participated in a military exercise in Russia, which is a joint military exercise. India's ASEAN partners are also included in this. Not only this, on one hand, India is embroiled in border conflict with China, while on the other hand, India does not shy away from participating in military exercises with China. Joint military exercises between the two nations on issues like terrorism also raise many questions, because whenever India tries to corner Pakistan on issues like terrorism, China becomes the biggest obstacle in its path. China has used its veto power to block many such resolutions presented by India in the United Nations. At the same time, in view of the Indo-Pacific region, India has also become a part of many multilateral organizations such as Quad. China also considers Quad's Malabar exercise as a threat against itself, and analysts also say that India tries to give a signal to China through this. Recently, while addressing the press at the 13th Indo-Pacific Army Chiefs Conference, which India was hosting for the first time with America, an attempt was made to give a similar signal. Similarly, shortly before the G20 conference, India conducted a major military exercise, Trishul, on the China-Pakistan borders, in which advanced military systems like Rafale, S-400, MRSAM and Spider were also involved. But the thing to be noted here is that despite all this, India does not spoil its military relations with China beyond a limit. Military and strategic partnership with ASEAN countries has gained special importance in the last few years, and China is a big factor behind this. For example, after years of apprehension, India and ASEAN finally started joint military exercises earlier this year. Although India and several ASEAN countries have been individually conducting military exercises on a regular basis, such as India conducting SIMBEX with Singapore, Maitri with Thailand, and exercise WINBEX with Vietnam. But the joint military exercise with ASEAN underlines India's growing strategic importance. These partnerships become even more important in the context of rapidly deteriorating geopolitics in the Indo-Pacific region. Now the question arises that what does India gain from such military exercises? If seen, military diplomacy in the field of international relations is a major means of advancing the diplomatic interest of nations. Participation in international military exercises is a sign of the highest level of trust and confidence among member states. Through this, member countries try to build trust and express confidence in the other country. This is the reason why India and China never stop such exercises despite various differences. There are many other benefits, such as these military exercises enable a country to understand the practices and procedures of the other country, overcome language barriers, and become familiar with the equipment capabilities. They also facilitate understanding and exposure to new technologies that other countries may use. Along with this, they provide better training to each other's military personnel. This training is useful in crisis situations like war. It is also helpful in many other such operations such as humanitarian aid, disaster relief operations, etc. At the same time, when nations go from one country to another for these military exercises, they also gain experience of working in new geographical conditions. When multiple countries have to work together, such as during a tsunami, the prior experience gained from these exercises comes in handy. Another important benefit of joint military exercises is strategic signaling. Through this, countries also signal to other countries that our diplomatic objectives are the same and hence we are together. Apart from this, military exercises also promote brotherhood and harmony among soldiers and armies. This is also a sign of soft diplomacy. Through this, culture, language, customs, beliefs, food habits, and lifestyle are also shown to other countries. This is the reason why India has increased these military exercises in recent times, and through this has also created a balance between different groups. So that's all in today's episode. See you in the next episode. But before that, let's note down a question based on today's story. In recent years, military exercises have become a means of achieving strategic interest. Discuss.